Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to today's live Q&A. Whether you're watching live or you're catching the replay, I want you to know that you belong here. I am Ebere Chukwuona, a mental health therapist and your wellness bestie. I'm honored to hold this space and to have it with you. This is a safe, judgment free zone, you know. So feel free to share your questions in the chat or just listen in quietly if that's what your heart needs for now. We're talking about something that touches most of us, most of our lives. Each and every one of us either have been through it, are going through it, or know someone somewhere that is going through it. And that is depression and its silent partner, which is avoidance. Now, let's begin with this. Depression is more than just sadness. It's, that mental and emotional condition that can drain your energy. And clinically, people who have taken time to be to a mental health center for diagnosis have been diagnosed with either mild, moderate, or acute, depression. It's on a spectrum depending on how it manifests in an individual. Now, it's often always dulls your joy and it clouds your thoughts. It just has a way of affecting every area of your life. You can feel like carrying a very heavy backpack, you know, that nobody is seeing, and oftentimes you may not even be able to explain it to anybody, and it makes it hard sometimes to get out of bed, to get through with tasks, or even believe the good things about yourself. And often in that um, cloudiness, in that fog, it makes us avoid people, avoid responsibilities, even things that used to make us happy, things that we loved. Have you ever found yourself avoiding something? Not because you were lazy, but because you felt overwhelmed, you felt tired and of low spirit. Like you just felt like there's no need to do this, there's no need to engage in this. If yes, please just drop an emoji or just say that's me in the chat and let's know that encourage other people to know that you're not alone. Trust me, you are not alone. There are so many people who have gone through it. There are people who are currently going through it. And what we're here to do is to help you know, if, help you prepare yourself, even if you haven't been through it, or know what to do for someone who is currently going through it. So please drop in the comment section, that's me, or just drop an emoji or a hug emoji to help others know that they're not alone. So here's how we're going to flow. I'll spend a few minutes talking about what depression and avoidance really is. And then I'll take questions that were sent in from our wellness community. So yes, we have a wellness community where we hold you accountable for what, for your wellness, which is all round wellness. We're not just interested in your mental health, but oftentimes we found that a lot of these things are rooted in the mental wellness and emotional wellness. So that's where we often start from. But we don't just stay there. We hold you accountable for all round wellness. There are 8 indices of wellness. And of course, if you're in the wellness community, you would already know that. But even if you don't and you want to, obviously, you should be joining our wellness community. The link is in the chat box, is in the description of this video, and just go ahead and click the link and join our wellness community where you have one-on-one attention with a therapist. Depending on what you're going through, you drop your comments, you drop your questions. We handle, a wellness week. Every month we have 7 days wellness week. So what you're enjoying this month of July is 14 days. It's like a bumper package that we prepare specifically for you because you are important to us. And on our platform, we're not about everybody, or it's you centered. We don't give you, tips that it's just generalized. We try to make it particular to you depending on what you're going through. And of course, you can drop, comment of what you want us to handle, and we handle that so that you know that you are seen. And that's why we're here today, to take Q&A from our wellness community that over the last 14 days, over the 14 days of our wellness challenge, talking about depression and avoidance, we gathered some questions from our community, and that's what we're going to be handling. So if you want some questions to be answered, please go ahead and drop your questions in the comment section, and of course we're going to give you that attention that you need. That's what I'm here for. After all, I'm your wellness bestie. Okay, and then we're going to wrap it up with a few helpful tools and words of encouragement. Like I said, this space is designed for you. So let's start with the heart of the matter. What does depression actually look and feel like? And how can we recognize when avoidance is creeping in? So depression doesn't always look like what we see in the movies. Trust me, social media will tell you that depression looks like, you're always crying and lying in bed all day. Yes, that could happen, but that's not necessarily the only way that depression looks. So you see that a lot of people are actually depressed, but they are not, because we have not been sensitized to what it looks like. We don't know what to do. Some people actually push depression to say, okay, this person just does not want to. This person does not want to find joy. This person, amazingly, depression sometimes would look like smiling in public, but feeling empty inside. Yes. If there's anyone that I mentioned that you've noticed around you or you have been going through, just drop it in the comment section. So the first one I said is smiling in public and feeling empty inside. So you can just type in the chat box, smiling in public, dot dot dot. Even if you don't want to complete it, just go ahead. Like I said, this is a no judgment space. This is a space for you to express or probably just follow us through the whole Q&A session. Depression also looks like struggling to get out of bed even after a full night's sleep. So you realize that you've rested for a long time. You've really rested. I've done sessions on, the difference between sleep and rest. A lot of times we lie down, close our eyes, but we're actually not resting. So you notice that you've slept for long and you still wake up very tired or unable to get out of bed. That could also be a sign that, you know, depression or low mood. Then also losing interest in things that you used to enjoy. Now, some of these tips I'm sharing are actually things that are clinically diagnosed. We diagnose it in session. So you don't just say, okay, because I smile in public and I feel empty, and you say I'm depressed. No, these are just symptoms, and the manual, statistical manual that we use for I don't want to be too technical. That's what I'm trying to find very simple layman terms that is easy to understand. So the manual that we use for diagnosis actually indicates the intensity of and the number of these symptoms that you notice before we can conclude over a certain period of time, the age, and before we can actually conclude that this person is clinically diagnosed with depression. So the next symptom is losing interest in things you used to enjoy. So there were certain things that you used to enjoy and suddenly you just lose interest, and that loss of interest has lingered for a long time. That could also be a symptom of depression. We also have feeling tired all the time for no reason. Just notice that I'm tired, I'm tired, I'm tired, and there's no reason. Especially because we work hand in hand with the medical personnel. We don't just say because you've been feeling tired for a long time, you may actually haven't been taking enough nutrients into your body. So we check every aspect, both your physical health, we check your, in process of mental status diagnosis, we check your mental health, we check your how you look, what you look like, how you're responding. There's so much that we do in sessions, but if you've also been having trouble concentrating on making decisions, that's another one. We find a lot of people who suddenly just lose concentration on what they used to be more more focused on, and that's part of it. Inability to make decisions or difficulty making decisions, or making decisions that are contrary to what is beneficial to you or beneficial to someone close to you. So some people just generally just decide, okay, I'm going to I don't know if I should drive or if I should walk, or and those kind of things, manifest. It's different for different people, but that's where, the client-centered focus comes in, where we ask you how you have been, and then we can check some of these things. Then feeling like you're a burden, or like things won't get better. A lot of times, in session, I find clients who say they just become a burden to someone. They don't want to be a burden to someone. There are people who generally don't like being burdens to people, but it now happens where you're feeling like you're a burden, and that feeling lingers for a long time, even when there is no evidence to prove that you're a burden. So, you just carry that weight of, I'm a burden to this person, or things won't get better. I've tried and tried, and it's just not working. What I do, so this part of it is the emotional process of depression, the emotional symptom of depression, because we may not be able to tell that this is how you're feeling, but when you now notice that you're beginning to feel this way, we can begin to say, okay, these are things that is possible, this person is depressed. Then we come to the part of eating too much or too little. Yes, there are some people who, um, in the process of depression, they begin to eat a lot. Yes, it's also linked to anxiety, um, which is something we've handled in the wellness, in our wellness community. So again, I ask you, why are you not in our wellness community? All right, so let's get back to it. Yes, so eating too much or eating too little. You find that you either completely lose appetite, or you begin to eat excessively, especially eating things that are not healthy for you. You know. The next symptom is being easily irritated or unusually quiet. Like, sure, stay away from me. Oh, I don't want to talk to. Oh, this is just, just being very picky, easily irritated, easily angered, easily annoyed, or unusually quiet and withdrawn. That's another symptom or another sign that is a possibility that you're being depressed, or that you are depressed. So, um, I did a course, understanding depression and low mood among young people, with the university in UK. And one of the things that we saw in, one of the things we that kept reoccurring was that, especially as a caregiver of a young person, you must be able to know these signs. That's why I'm bringing it up, for us to have conversations around it. So when you see that these things are beginning to happen for your young person, because they may not be able to express themselves to you, or you are a caregiver, or you notice it with someone that is not even directly under your supervision. These are things you can begin to let the person around you know, that, hey, I'm noticing this and this about this young person or this person. What do you think? What has been going on with them? Is there something in the environment? We must learn to be proactive with our mental health. I want to say it here and now. If this is one thing you take away from this live session, we must learn to be proactive with our health. Don't wait until the thing gets so bad, and the issue has become so ingrained that it's harder to deal with. And then we have that mentality, especially in the African climate, or I don't know, maybe it's in environments where people live in poverty, where it's easier to get food and do all that until the health has gone so bad. Then we now suddenly, oh, we start rushing to the hospital, or rushing to get medical care of any sort. So please, we must be proactive with our mental health. Of course, I'll speak as a mental health therapist. You must be proactive with your wellness, because it is your responsibility to show up the best version of yourself. Then the last one I'll talk about is feeling numb, not sad, just flat. So there are times when you're not feeling sad, you're not feeling angry, you're just numb. Now that numbness is like, there is no emotion, there is no feeling. It's just flat, empty, well, tasteless, more like that. That could also be a sign. And then comes avoidance. Now, this is one of depression's silent companions. It can creep in slowly, trust me, and it's not always dramatic. It's not like you just suddenly, boom, and it just ceases and dramatic end to doing something. It could be that text that you left unread, that phone call you just ignored, that task you just kept postponing, or that event you cancelled at the last minute. It often comes from a place of emotional exhaustion. Trust me, a place of fear, exhaustion. You see that numbness, just tired, just I've had it. Unfortunately, you are not saying I've had it. Most times we don't end up saying I've had it. So at least someone around could say, oh, it's possible that this person is tired. You're not saying it now. You're at that place where you have just become fed up. Like your emotions have just packed up and they're just zero, nada, nothing. And then, it's that fear of what if I can't cope? It's that fear of what if I fail? What if I I have to pretend like I'm okay when I'm not? And it just suddenly makes you avoid things. It suddenly makes you start avoiding the thoughts. We talked about in the sessions, mm, cognitive avoidance and behavioral avoidance. So in the cognitive avoidance, you're avoiding some thoughts, you're avoiding even thinking about thinking or thinking some thoughts. You're beginning to avoid, and like we said, it drains your emotion, or you're avoiding a behavior, you're avoiding doing something. So these are signs, these are types of avoidance. But the tricky part is that the more you avoid, the heavier life can feel. Yes, like I said, it drains your energy and just makes you feel more tired. So it's like a cycle. In cognitive behavioral therapy, one of the things that we try to do is to break that cycle of thinking something, feeling some way, and then avoiding or behaving in a certain manner, that brings about that depression or that brings about that anxiety, depending on what is being handled. Because avoidance, it gives a short-term relief, it's just for a short term, and over time it builds up pressure. Have you ever been in a situation where you avoided something, and after a while it just felt like it now even became more overwhelming? Have you been there? Just you can just drop a comment in the comment section and say I've been there. So if you've been there where you've avoided something, for an example, there is a maybe a house chore or something that you kept piling up clothes, and just use clothes for an example, because I believe every one of us wears clothes, and even if you have to take it to the laundry, or you have to do the laundry yourself or whatever, you just keep piling the clothes and piling the clothes and piling them, and I'll get that done later, I'll get that done later, and you're avoiding. Guess what? The ones that you kept in the lower parts, they begin to become moldy, and mold is bacteria that drains, that it actually brings heat and sucks energy from the environment, smell and all that. So just imagine that being an emotion you're avoiding, a behavior you're avoiding, something you're avoiding. Over time it builds up and it becomes more overwhelming, and sometimes it actually festers and becomes worsened, worse than what it was in the beginning, or worse than what it was if an action had been taken at the appropriate time. So now recognizing this pattern is very powerful. Like I said, it's a cycle. Once you're able to recognize the pattern, or recognize the cycle, or recognize the seasons when these kind of feelings come up, then it's easier for you to handle it, or it's easier for you to know, oh, I'm beginning to feel overwhelmed. What do I do? Because you are noticing it. So that's one of the things that we encourage people. Of course, I do that a lot on the wellness platform. I don't know why you're not there, but okay, fine, let's continue. I'm waiting for you. I know how many of you are going to be clicking to join the wellness platform, because that's something that we hold you accountable. We remind you, bring it up again and again and again, because I mean, it may be harder to come to YouTube, but of course, you should be able to subscribe and make sure you hear everything that we have to offer, because I am still your wellness bestie. So let's talk. What have you noticed in your life or in someone you love? Amongst all these things we've listed so far, it could be a symptom of depression or something that they've been avoiding. Remember, this is a no judgment space. So your comments are your comments, and we have an audience who are open to just talking. Let's hear from you. What have you noticed in your life or in the life of someone you love, someone that is around you? Drop your questions or your comments in the chat, and let's explore them together. Okay, thank you for staying with us in the first part where we did a brief recap of what depression and avoidance is, how to recognize depression, and how to take note of those things that you've been avoiding. Over the past 14 days, we've been dropping videos, and we've been dropping, for each video, there is a reflection, something for you to take time to reflect on, think through, think about, meditate on. And then we have tasks because, like I said, behavior, your actions, from your actions, we can gauge what you are thinking. Not necessarily that it's a cause and effect, but it's a pointer to the lines of thoughts that, like people say, actions speak louder than words. So we've been about the action. Also, as we are reflecting, where we want to begin to take action in line with what we are becoming. Remember, it's a journey of becoming. Every day you are becoming something. You are a human being. You are not a human doing. But what you do is building up over time to who you are. So your actions are still very important. Hence the need for the reflection and the task after each video. Okay, so I took time to collate the questions in line with the days of what we handled in the past 13, 14 days now. So, that's in the playlist. So go ahead and watch. And I want to shout out to Lady D. I'm going to be using names, as not names, obviously. I'm just going to be giving you titles: Lady, Master, Prince, King. So just, that it's you. Remember, we're loving ourselves in such a way that it's easier for people to love us, or it's easier for people to know how we should be loved. So I'm spreading that lovely um, title to all the people on Wellness with Hadassah wellness platform. So one of the things I wanted to say about Lady D was, she one of the days, she chatted me up and she said, I didn't see this particular day's content. And I told her, oh, it's there, just check again. She said, oh, she really wanted to have all of them because she was going to sit with her friend and go through all the videos and the tasks, the reflections. I was wild when she said that, because that's something that a lot of people who are actually going through depression need. They may not be able to tell you, but they just want someone that sometimes, in fact, if you are going through depression, or you're depressed, or you have a very low mood, and you're here, I applaud you. I appreciate that you are taking the effort. It's a lot sometimes for people who are depressed to even seek help. Like, they are so down that it's even hard sometimes to seek support, to seek help. That's why I'm doing this education, I'm doing this, I'm creating this awareness, so that you may not be going through it, but just knowing what to do for someone who is going through it. And that was something that Lady D, indicated she was going to do with her friend. I don't know if the friend is actually depressed, but just the fact that she was willing to take time to go through all the videos with a friend, maybe as a form of accountability or as a form of encouragement, to just let the person know that she's seeing her or him. And that really is something I wanted to applaud. So, Lady D, here is for you. Thank you. And for everyone who is also going to do this with someone you love, or share this with someone you love, because you may not be able to say the words in a way that they would appreciate or they would understand. But for people who are professionals like me, it's easier for you to just share this with them, and they can relate better with it, because they hear it in a tone, in a voice that is like speaking to them directly. So here's thumbs up to everyone who is already sharing the videos. Here's a thumbs up to everyone who has already subscribed. Thank you. Our first question for day 1 and day 2 where of the avoidance and depression series is, how do I know when I'm avoiding a challenge versus when I'm not ready to face the challenge? Okay, so the this question, how you know when you are avoiding a challenge versus when you are not ready to face a challenge, is the amount of distress that the level of distress or it's causing you on the inside. um for an example, you may not be ready to write an examination. I'm using an examination for an example. You may not be ready to write an examination at the moment, or when you are now in the place of continuously avoiding that examination, continuously avoiding that meeting, or that continuously avoiding or feeling a lot of pain or distress or sadness whenever it has to do with that course or that examination, you know that you may be avoiding it. Now, not being ready to face it is that you probably are not in the state to face it right now. But avoidance is when there is distress that has to do with not being ready to face it. I know I'm very exhausted. I may not be able to attend to this at the moment. So I'm going to give energy or put effort to building my energy to give it a time to address it. I'm not yet ready to write this exam. So why, how am I not ready? Why am I not ready? Is it my emotion? So I need to build up, some level of emotion or support or something as regards this thing. Maybe there's someone I need to talk to about this particular exam. Would say, okay, I'm having a challenge with this particular area or aspect of this. Can you explain better so that I understand it? And then the more you understand it, the better, or the more prepared you are to face that thing. So you are actually not facing it directly, but you are channeling some form of energy to it. In avoidance, you are pulling away every form of energy from it. The only energy you are channeling to it could be energy of sadness or pain or distress when it has to do with thinking about that thing. And like I said, when you fight things, or when you fight your emotions, you're actually using energy in the wrong way. So that I hope I've been able to help you understand the how to know when you are not ready to face something and when you are avoiding something. When I handle clients, or when we have um, group sessions, one of the things I teach is being able to do a SWOT analysis of your emotions. What are the strengths? What are the weaknesses? What are the opportunities? What are the threats? And just doing that alone actually helps you to know what you need to work through, what you need to work with, what you need to build on, and all that. So yeah, I hope I've been able to answer that. Thank you for that question. Um, Okay, I'll go to the next question. What if facing the situation I've been avoiding causes more anxiety? Am I not setting myself up to spiral back into depression? Okay, thank you also for this question. Wow, these questions are really, really practical. Yeah, so what if you're facing the situation? What if facing the situation you've been avoiding causes more anxiety? Yeah, if it causes more anxiety, it's something, like I said, I would always refer to a wellness platform, because we've handled quite a lot of these issues. So if it's causing more anxiety, we teach you grounding techniques, how to ground yourself, how to get yourself back, get your emotions back in order. One of that is deep breathing. And if you've not seen the benefits of deep breathing, I've done videos, like quite a lot of them, on the benefits of deep breathing. So one of it is deep breathing, where you consciously bring yourself back in order. You're taking control of the raging emotions or the raging hormones and the chemicals that are flooding your system, and the way your brain is trying to help you to rethink or to think automatically on what to do, on how to act. Yes, so even if you're facing that thing is going to bring anxiety, you're able to face it. We also, you could also expose yourself to it gradually, not suddenly just, well, expose yourself to it, or the fullness of it. For an example, you may have, oh, I've been avoiding getting a job in this organization because I'm going to have to do an interview, and I'm going to sit in the front of people to do an interview. I'm just using that as, as a random example. And because of that, you've been avoiding it, because anytime you think of sitting in front of people, you get scared, or maybe um, have panic attacks. So we handle the root cause of the issue, and slowly expose yourself to it. For an example, you could start with standing in front of the mirror, or standing, and then you could do a mock interview in front of people who love you, or someone who loves you, someone who understands what you're going through. And then gradually, that's, gradual exposure to that particular thing. So if facing it is going to cause more anxiety, you're setting yourself up. But the worst that will happen is that you will spiral, and the best that will happen is that you will do very well. So don't be limited by the worst case scenario. Also have the best case scenario. And then, and now, because I'm talking to people who, when you're dealing with someone who is actually depressed, sometimes even just getting up to drink water, sometimes just self-care can be a lot. Excuse me. Sometimes self-care can be a lot. So I understand that, and that's why I'm breaking it down to the easiest possible explanation as to what to do about it. All right, so we're going to the next set of questions that said, I feel tired all the time, even though I sleep well. Could emotional fatigue be the reason? Yes, yes, it could be the reason for the tiredness. Like I said, numbness, most of the things we feel actually translates to our bodies. So we're feeling it in our mind, which is where our soul is, and where it is reflecting in our body, is reflecting in how we are. And of course, depression, anxiety, and the likes of them, they also have biological causes. It's not limited to just your mind. Yes, sometimes there are chemicals, neurotransmitters in your brain that is not being released enough to boost your mood. So I don't know if you've ever felt this. Maybe you were feeling sad, and next thing you just have a cup of ice cream, or that meal you've been craving, like the way you've been craving it, and you eat the meal, and it's like, your emotions just pop up, and you're just so excited. Yes, that's part of it. So sometimes even what you eat affects how you feel. So of course, if you feel tired, and even though you sleep well, emotional fatigue can be part of it, because how you're feeling in your emotions can affect what you um see in your body. Yes, it can. Of course, it can. There are times when you even want to, you sleep and you wake up, but there was something that was on your mind, or maybe a day when you didn't even sleep well. Let me just use a day when you didn't sleep well, but there's something you've been looking forward to for the next day. You didn't sleep well, but you wake up with a burst of energy for the next day. If it's something you were avoiding that is coming up for the next day, even if you slept well, sometimes you just wake up and you don't even want to get up from the bed, because it's like, oh, can this day not just be here already? And that's it. So yes, it could be emotional fatigue. Excuse me. Okay. The next question is, what can I do when I feel emotionally drained, but life still expects me to keep going? Hmm. Okay, like I said, I'm here to give us very practical tips, practical answers to some of these questions. When you feel emotionally drained, but yet you have to leave, life keeps you. I mean, sometimes when I talk with professionals, when we have sessions, with professionals in the workplace. There are people, depression in the workplace is real. Let me say this again. I want to position myself very well to say it again. Depression in the workplace is very real. Very, very real. You see a lot of people who, because they have to get up, they have to go to work, they have to show up, they have to be with the children, they have to take care of this, they have to do that, that's life expecting you to do all this. That's why we're here to teach you what to do, how to handle it. And when you're in a community, first of all, one of the things that you must have, or you should have, or invest in is your social support system. Your support system. Who are the people you can talk to and say, oh, this is how I'm feeling right now? Trust me, I have mine. Do you have yours? Are you on the wellness? Are you on our platform? Because there you build a system of support where people can push you, accountability, they can hold you responsible. Okay, this is how I noticed you've been like this of late. What's going on with you? There are times when it's just a very good cry that would wash out the excess emotion. Yes, as a man and as a woman, some people say men don't cry. That's not, that's a stereotype, and I don't even want to get into stereotypes right now. But yes, sometimes just having knowing that there is someone that you can just lean your head on their shoulder and share some of the burden with. That's where the idiom that a burden shared is half solved, because you're able to you know invest yourself. You're able to give a part of what is heavy for you for someone else to join you to carry. So one of the things I would like to say now, before it starts happening, if it has not started happening, is where was that question? What to do is reach out to your support system. Reach out to them. There are people who you don't even need to say anything, they already know what's up. There are some people who I just call, just the way my voice sounds, they know there's something up. So what is it? What's happening? And all that. So please have a support system. Yes, have a support system. And start building it now. Be intentional about your support system, because it's like I've done a video about how to support your support system. It's like your backbone. It's something we play with, but if you've ever had a pain in your spine or your lumbar region, or it is one of the worst pains you can have. So you must be able to support your support system. Be intentional about building your support system in such a way that over time they understand you, they know what you're going through at that point. And then if life makes you have to show up, then have seasons of rest and recuperation. That was one thing we handled on day 7 of this series. While you work and work and work, the principle of rest is very important. That you could have, of course, I've done a video on 50 ways you can take a break. Like, you can take short breaks, then short-term break, mid-term break, and long-term breaks. So make sure you invest and you are practically, building on that. Okay. All right, so that's another thing that you have to do. Periods of rest. Don't take it for granted. When probably you're a staff and you have leave, please go on leave. Don't use that period to catch up on all the extra work that you have not done, because you're telling your body, work until you die. And guess what? If your emotions decide to pack up, it's not a good place to be. Trust me, it's not a good place to be. And if your body decides to just pack up on the wayside, that's it. It's not a good place to be. So that's another thing that you must invest in, another thing that you must do. Periods of rest. Periods of rest. Times when you can recuperate from it all. All right. So we get into the day 3 and 4 questions when it has to do with courage. Courage is showing up, doing it afraid, just showing up. And the day 4, we handle the inner critic. All right, so I have a question. How can I build courage when fear and failure have been part of my story for so long? Yes, I work with teenagers mostly and young people. That's another side thing that I do. So one of the things that we've noticed so much is the fear of, failure, especially with the way some of us were parented, you know, the way some of us, react to the world by what we have observed, what we have learned, is the fear of failure, because we punish failure, and because it's something we've learned over time, because we punish failure, it's hard for people to see that failure is just a learning curve. And because of that, so many other reasons, we avoid failure. It may shock you to know that some people also avoid success. So there is the fear of failure and the fear of success. I've handled this series on the wellness platform, in our wellness community. Okay, but let me just give you some of the tips so that just to whet your appetite. Yeah. So the fear of success is the fear of the fame or the glory or the attention that comes with succeeding. The fear of failure is the fear of the shame and the guilt or whatever that comes with not succeeding. Now, what is success? Is success, who defined the success, and how has it? So these are some of the things that you may need to address when you were talking about building courage. Another thing you may need to address is your mindset. We handled that in June. Yeah, that was our May Wellness Week. Your mindset, transiting from the fixed mindset to the growth mindset, and it's something you can do. We have done videos on, um, the difference between the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. You see that in videos. So it's another thing you need to check. What kind of mindset do you have? Do you have the Matara syndrome, where all the problems you carry all the pain, everything that has ever happened to you in this life, you carry it like a badge of honor and show it to the world just to attract sympathy and empathy from people. And then in that process, you're not demanding more of yourself. You're not demanding yourself to show up at least 1% better than you were yesterday. Because if you take out time to build yourself, just I want to be 1% better than I was yesterday. I want to show up a better version of myself every time I appear before people. You're taking responsibility for yourself, irrespective of what comparison is in the environment or what other people have to say. But just understand, another thing that can help you build courage is understanding your life process. At the end of June, I was walking through, on the platform, the 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 truth or the myth that there is something to compare yourself with another person. No two people, no two experiences, no two people experience the same thing the same way. No two people go through the same thing the same way. So there is nobody that has put a stamp or a seal that says that because you are this, you must have that, or you must have that kind of job, or you must have this kind of money or something. I mean, there is, understand your life processes. Everybody grows, or everybody is in a different phase, in a different stage of life. And even your stage of life is different for you compared to how it is for some other person when they finally get to that stage. So one of the things, on on our alumni platform that we discuss is that all of us may have left school at the same time, but some people actually are dead. Some people are married, some people are not. Some people went to further their education, some people didn't. Some people have children, some people don't. Some people have the ones children that they gave birth to that have died. Some people have jobs, some people don't. Some people have business, serial entrepreneurs, some people don't even understand anything that has to do with enterprise. So everybody has a different phase in life. So own your life. Take responsibility for your now. Take responsibility for your behavior. Take responsibility for your feelings, for your thoughts, for your emotions. Take responsibility for it and show up. That's what we were talking about when we were talking about courage. So to build courage, it starts with taking responsibility for yourself, knowing that your journey is different from another person's journey, and then rewriting your story, rewriting the way you talk to yourself, rewriting the things you say to yourself, your mindset. So you see, this is it may seem like a lot of work, but it is just taking it one step at a time, one day at a time. Remember what I said, showing up 1% better than you showed up yesterday. That's courage, but just show up. That's it. So even if failure and fear has been a part of your story for so long, now the fact that you're even asking this question, the fact that you're thinking about this, means that you have started taking responsibility for it. So the courage, how do you show courageous, is by taking responsibility for where you've come so far. So things that happened to you in the past have happened, they are gone. Today is here now. Tomorrow you're not even too sure of, but what you are doing now is determining or is deciding what you are going to see in the future. So that's it. So take responsibility for now, one step at a time, 1% better, 1% kinder, 1% more relatable. You're beginning to analyze your emotions or reflecting even things that used to be hard to reflect on. You're speaking better about yourself. That's courage. That's showing up. Because over time it builds up. There is a compounding effect of all this that we're doing. It's built up over time. And you look back and you're like, wow, I used to be this before, and now it doesn't even affect me that much, because you are growing, you are becoming a better version of yourself every day. So to build courage, 1% better every day. 1% doing, take that action in fear. Just do it. Just take 1% of that thing that you've been afraid of. Do it afraid, but just do it. And it builds up over time. And you see that in the next set of questions, the 5 and 6, we're talking about celebrating the tiny wins. In that process, you're building up emotion for that big win, but you're building something over time. Okay. So the next question I have here is, I keep second guessing myself after every small decision. Is that my inner critic at work? Yes, that's it. So one of the things we handled, one of the, I think, I can't remember, I think it was April or March Wellness Week on the platform, was imposter syndrome. It's that imposter syndrome that tells, especially we see this a lot. In fact, it manifests a lot. I don't want to give you statistics, but just go and do a statistics of people who are suffering from imposter syndrome, especially in the workplace or in the business sector, where there is a group of people and there is, there are performance in the indices, or there are things that beautiful. Just go and check. You will see. Just do a research. You could, search it up and Google it up, and you see the percentage of people who are struggling with different dimensions of that inner critic, that imposter syndrome, that makes you second guess yourself for every small decision. There are some people that, yes, for the big decisions, obviously you have to take time to prove, to check it, to be sure. But there are people who, for even the small decisions, should I have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee? No, if I have a cup of tea, how dare you think of cup? I was talking with a group of young people yesterday, and one of the things I kept telling them was, it will shock you what people are going through if you sit to listen. Some of the things I hear in therapy, in sessions, and that's one of the things that sometimes I look back and I'm amazed how I'm able to absorb it and yet not be affected by it. And that's one of the tips I shared on how to choose a therapist. It has to be someone who sees you for you and who is not there to judge you. Because trust me, there are people out there who have the title, have the know-how, but they make you feel like you're less because you're going through something. Just like a doctor that makes you feel that you will never get well. I mean, what are they there for? Is it not to help you get better? So yeah. So a lot of people are going through things. So if you find that you keep second guessing yourself, yes, that is a very major sign that your inner critic is at work. And so to silence your inner critic, take effort and then prove that criticism wrong. Just do it. For an example, um, your inner critic could be telling you, let me use myself for an example. Okay, yeah, I'm putting myself on the spotlight. After all, I'm in the spotlight already, so let me do that. The, my inner critic sometimes, when it wants to just manifest that, it wants to show itself, just comes up and says, no, who is listening to you? People don't listen to you. And I silence that inner critic by proving it wrong. And that's why I'm speaking up. Even if you're not seeing this now, you're going to watch this later, you're just joining us, you're not even part of those that comment, you just watch through and get the help you need and move on. That's why I'm here. I mean, if no one speaks up, then no one will listen. And I decide to speak up against, and I decide to speak up to build an awareness as regards depression and avoidance. So that's me challenging my inner critic, telling it, no, it's not true, it's not true, it's not true. I'm going to keep speaking. I'm going to keep speaking because my voice is a voice, not an echo. Okay, so that's that for that question too. We'll get to the next series sets of questions from day 5 and day 6. So what I try to do, I try to collate these questions together. So the ones that had similar answers, I just put them together. Remember to drop your questions in the comment section. Okay, let me see. All right. The next question we have here is, I struggle to celebrate small progress. It feels like it's not enough. How do I shift my mindset? You see, we were just talking about shifting from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. So there are people that have a failure mindset. What is a failure mindset? A failure mindset is, I'm a failure. No matter what I do, I'm a failure. So when they win, they don't even know how to recognize that they have won. They don't know how to recognize or celebrate something that they have won. So we have that. Some of us also have the mindset that is stuck in one of these manifestations of a fixed mindset is, everything I have to do it with my capacity. Anything that I don't do within that is not within my capacity is not worth doing. Because there are some people who were very intelligent in school, probably with the kind of school system that is practiced in a lot of developing countries. Let me not get into it so that someone doesn't come out for me. But yes, where it's all about your academics, your intellectual quotient, and we're not checking the emotional quotient, we're not checking, social quotient. No, it's just your intellectual quotient. So there are people like that who, by their intellectual quotient and the standard of measurement for success, they have been succeeding. Then they face a challenge that requires something more than the IQ. It may require a cultural quotient, or it may require your emotional, intelligence, or it may require your social capacity, and then they fail. So they just feel like, oh, there's nothing to celebrate here because I failed at it. But so if you're struggling to celebrate small progresses, we're here in session. We can help you walk through setting small goals, setting small tasks that you can celebrate. And then one of the things you do is, when you set a task, for an example, for someone who may be going through chronic depression or maybe mild depression, and the person is unable to go through the day's chores, even to as little as um, self-care, taking care of themselves, taking a bath. There are people, there are clients I've had who have been so depressed they don't even get up from the bed for days on end. Yes, everything they need, they just manage to order for it. Remember, I talked about not even eating properly or eating too much. So they just stay in bed or stay in the couch. They become couch rats and they just stay there for a long time, for days. If they manage to get up, they just get up, use the restroom, and come back again, and they just lie down. That's even to get up is a problem, is a challenge. Yes. So sometimes for those kind of situations or whatever the situation is, so you see, I'm going through the worst kind of situation, and for that kind of thing, celebrating the little win could be as little as I was able to take my bath within 5 minutes of waking up, or within 20 minutes of waking. It could be as little as that. I was able to prepare my meal by myself. It took me almost 2 hours to finally get done, but I prepared my meal. That's a little win. So that's a little progress that has been made. So how do you celebrate it? One of the ways you could celebrate could be to now maybe phone a friend, or just do a victory dance, as little as that. So that's something I do for my children. Even when they get to the point where they're overwhelmed, maybe with schoolwork or something, I tell them, okay, when you finish this, let's have a victory dance, or I call it mommy love or whatever. Just something to that you're looking forward to. And when you set it before you, it gives you a little boost of energy to accomplish it. When you accomplish it and you celebrate it, it boosts your energy much more to even try the next time, because chemicals are sent to your system, that feel good hormone, that feel good chemical that is sent around your body that makes you feel good. For an example, I once had a task. There was a lovely pair of shoes that I wanted to get for myself. I looked at the shoes, I looked at the cost, and then there was a huge task ahead of me that I was supposed to do. And I wanted to avoid that task by all means because I was overwhelmed, but it was a need I had to achieve. So one of the things that I did for myself at that phase of my life where I was that I I booked for the shoe. I didn't pay for it yet. And then I kept it before me. Like I got an image of the shoe and I kept it before me. And I went through that task, because that task was going to take me almost a whole month, with all the financial and physical energy and emotional energy that was required to get it done. And when I accomplished that task, oh my goodness, I went all out to get that shoe. And when I got the shoe, anytime I wear the shoe, it reminds me. In fact, just looking at the shoe, even if I don't wear it so often, just looking at it reminds me of the challenges, of the pain I went through to get it, or the pain I went through, or this was to celebrate what I went through. And that's something that you can do. But what we're asking you to do is tiny wins, just those tiny wins. I was able to place a call across. I was able to send a text. I was able to finish the first chapter of this book I was reading. That's a tiny win that you can celebrate. That gives you a boost of energy for the bigger things that are coming. Okay, this question is one that I've heard quite a lot. The next question is something I've heard a lot with people. I'm going to answer it as much as is within my capacity to do. It says, is it okay to be angry with God or life about pain that I didn't cause? I've had quite a number of people who become um, God averse, or life averse. I've had some people talk to me and say, I feel like dying, but I don't want to kill myself. I'm laughing about it, or but I'm not laughing at the person or laughing at the situation. I just want you to know that there are a lot of people who are going through these things. There are a lot of people who are going through these challenges. So there are people who are angry with God or angry with life because of pain they didn't cause. I mean, what would you explain to a child or to a young adult who has been serially raped? It's a sensitive topic, but I'm just using that as the first example that came to mind. who has been serially raped, and they get to the point where they're like, what did I do? This started from when I was merely a child, who have been abused, traumatized by different circumstances of life, have gone through a lot of trauma. Sometimes they're at that point where they're just fed up, they're just numb. And because they've not been, they don't have an awareness of how to handle it, or who to talk to, or what to do about it, they just look for where to channel that pain, or where to channel the hurt. And sometimes they channel it at themselves, they begin to hurt themselves. Sometimes they channel it at, the caregiver, or whoever is their guardian at that point. Sometimes they channel it at God, or they channel it at life in general. If I was not born, would this have happened? Or they channel it at their parents, or whoever gave birth to them. Oh, why did you bring me into this world? Why did you bring me? There's a lot that people are going through, especially when they're depressed. And um I would like to say that, like I said just now, is being angry at God, is it producing any result? Like, really, you've gone round, you've tried all the ways to get the help that you need, but being angry at God and being angry at life is not. Like I said, this is a safe space where you can talk, where we can, where we're here for you as an individual. So, if you're going through these kind of thoughts, we call them suicidal thoughts, suicidal ideation. You're already thinking of, but you're not actively trying to take your life, but you're just tired of life. You're just tired of living, or the quality of life you've had. Please make sure you reach out to us. Our email address is there. Send an email. In fact, it comes directly to me. I read the messages personally. Send an email and we'll reach out to you. Click on the link and join the wellness platform, where there are other people who have been going through things. Like I said, it's a place, a safe space where we learn, unlearn, we grow, we heal, and we become. So it may be okay in the short term, because we're looking for who to be angry with because of what you're going through. But in the long term, there's no progress really. Over time, there is no progress, because you're just angry at, you're expressing that anger emotion, or that anger energy, at something that is not productive. So one of the things that we do when I talk about reflection and how to process your emotion, is channeling that energy, because emotion is energy in motion. So channeling that energy into something that is productive. Anger is not bad in itself, but it is designed to be used for something productive. So it becomes counterproductive when you're channeling that anger at something that does not work, or you're channeling it at yourself. And after that, what next? You've not really processed it. You've not really analyzed it. You're not even using the energy appropriately. For an example, the drilling machine, or the drilling machine is designed to make holes for building or something, or maybe in a block or whatever, for some construction or constructive process. But when you begin to channel the energy that is in the drilling machine on every single thing, you channel it on your roof, you're breaking the roof, you channel it on the wall, you're just destroying it. It's not, you're not even channeling it. It's counterproductive. So for that energy, for that anger emotion, for that anger emotion, or that energy emotion, um, we in therapy we can walk through how to um, use that energy productively. I think that's just, I'm going to answer that, and I hope that helps you. I would have loved and play some music for you. What do we say? Should we take a break? So that okay, let me see. Okay, we're still at it, and I'm here for you. Like I said, I'm going to answer your questions, as many questions as we have. Let me just confirm if we can have a music break. or a breathing break. Yes, that's an idea. Yes, we can have a breathing break. Yes, we can have a breathing break. So we're just going to be doing deep breathing for the next few seconds or for like a minute, and trust that I'm still here with you. So just take a deep breath, and we're breathing in from our nostrils and breathing out gently from our lips. So let's go. Okay. All right. So how do you feel? I'm going to have my tea break. Cheers to you. Mm, refreshing. So refreshing. Okay. Okay. So if you're still there, let me do the hug again, giving yourself a hug. So I'm trying to congratulate myself for how far we've come with um on wellness with Hadassah. So we're celebrating 2 years, and I'm trying to congratulate myself, and I want to give myself a very, very big bear hug. You know, so one of the things that my clients tell me is for the females, please, I don't hug males. Thank you very much. So one of the things that my clients tell me is that my hug is therapeutic. So I decided, yes, I have to teach you how to give yourself a therapeutic hug. First of all, I love myself, not selfishly, but I love myself. I love who I am. I love who I'm becoming. I love everything about myself, the good, the bad, and yes, the ugly, the parts that others may not recognize. I recognize it about myself, and I love myself. So I want to teach you quickly, quickly, quickly. If you've not seen that video, how to give yourself a bear hug, how to give yourself a therapeutic hug. Yeah, when I'm done with that, then I'll tell you one of the things that it helps you do. Okay, so take your right hand. I know this is a reflection, so just take your right hand and put it under your your chest, like close to your heart, as close as possible. Why? Because you're trying to tell your heart to calm down, to be at peace. That's why the right hand goes there. That's where your heart is. And then your left hand goes over your right shoulder, or if you prefer, over the shoulder or by the side of the arm. Whichever one is going to give you a tighter hug. And when you do that, you see that it's a bit of exercise, but it's also something that feels warm. And maybe one of the sessions we're going to talk about touch therapy. You know, research has shown that every human being needs at least 12 loving touch. 12 every day. 12, 12. So you can be giving yourself this hug. It's very, very important. So here we go. So that's that. And then you put that there. And then you squeeze. You could also tap yourself, or just give yourself you would do to someone, what you do to a grieving child, what you do to a crying child. Just do that for yourself and give yourself a clear hug. It's like, yeah, we've got this. Okay. So is our break over? Okay. Another thing you can do is also just stretch out your legs and just roll it round and round so that blood flows through your system. Just roll your ankle at your ankle, just roll it round, roll it to the right, roll it to the left. You just do a sit dance, but you're rolling, you're rolling, you're rolling. Yeah. That's also very, 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 very important. Okay. So let's get right back into it. Welcome back from the break. The break was a love break. The break was a tea break. The break was a little stretch. And I encourage you to make sure you go watch that video, 50 ways to refresh, 50 ways to take a break, 50 ways to rest. I put that video together to give you ideas of what you can do in the short term, to recuperate your energy. Yeah, so that's that. Okay, let's get back into it. So there are sometimes we breathe and we breathe heavily. I just, I think I did something like that, and that's what I wanted to correct. Excuse me. Okay, that's what I wanted to correct. I do that for my clients or anybody that I find around me. Once they breathe, that kind of like, you're about to give up the ghost. Please don't do that as much as you can. That's not refreshing. It doesn't refresh your emotions. It doesn't refresh your body. It just, that's a grieving, like the weight of everything is pressing down on you. But to release that weight, so even if you're tired, it's easier, it's better, it's more refreshing than. Okay, I couldn't even do it. So yeah, okay. I hope that was also a comic break for you. Welcome back. We're talking about we're back to the Q&A from the 14 days wellness challenge that we had in July. Yes, and the videos are there in the Depression and Avoidance Series playlist. We're going to day 7 to 9, and on the questions we were handling: being still, calmness, perfectionism, and isolation. Hmm. So I have a very sweet question here. How do I stop tying my worth to performance or perfect outcomes? Uh, okay, should I answer this question? I would not end by telling you that we've handled this in our wellness community. So if you have not joined the community, what are you waiting for? So imagine that this has been a major distress for you, and suddenly we bring it up in the questions. We've handled it, and on that platform you can ask your questions, and we collate them and put them together and present them to you in a way that we present them in audio version, we present them in written version, we present them visual, any way that you are able to absorb information. We are available to get it done for you. So what are you waiting for? Join our wellness community right now. Right now, right now, right now. Join the wellness community. But let me quickly answer this question. How do I stop tying my worth to performance or perfect outcomes? Start with knowing your worth. Who are you? Do a SWOT analysis. I was just saying during the break, the love break, like I said, at the part where I was talking about loving yourself, is know yourself. You can't love what you don't know. You have to know who you are. I used to not like my mouth, my lips, because of the way I grew up, and there were a lot of challenges. Like there was body shaming, where where I was schooling then, and then they just said that my mouth looks like, inverted zombie mouth, and that was how I saw it. That's how I felt. But growing up, I started realizing that this mouth is attached to wealth, it's attached to money, and I began to appreciate how I look. I began to appreciate what I look like. Right now, if you tell me anything about my mouth, I'm using my mouth to make money. What are you using your own mouth to do? That's because that's the way I see myself. It's not about how well I perform or what anybody says about. It's now how I see myself. So how do you start instead of trying to stop tying your work to performance or perfect outcomes, in the place of perfectionism? Start becoming a better version. Know yourself. Start appreciating yourself for who you are and where you are at right now, and start pushing yourself to keep moving, to keep at it. Don't stop. Start pushing yourself, start challenging yourself to become better, to do better, to be better. So I think that's just one of the fastest ways to stop is to start something else. Because sometimes we stop and then something happens and it triggers that thing again. And understand that even if you're triggered, get back to where you stopped. Because in therapy, or when you're trying to become something you were not, in breaking a habit, an addiction or something, it's not a straight curve. I was talking with a client the other day, and one of the things that we agreed, that there is no graph progress or anything, any graph you plot, in reality, in real life, it's never a straight curve. You may not even get a pendulum. There will be points that are missing. There are parts that are not, that don't align. It goes up, it comes down. It's like you even go back to what you were, and then you come back again, and it's that process. So give yourself room to grow. Give yourself room to grow. There is no perfect. There is nothing that is perfect. Trust me. You may finish and edit the video and it comes out looking perfect, but there is nothing that is perfect. So just give it. Be strive on doing an excellent job, not a perfect job. I don't know if I think that's even it. Strive on doing something excellent, not excellently, and not perfectly. Especially if you're a perfectionist, because it's a cry of an imposter, and it's an imposter syndrome. Yes, it just is a symptom of having an imposter syndrome. When you're trying to get it perfect, and then in the process of trying to get it perfect, you now shoot yourself in the foot because you're not able to get it perfect, and you're taking time to get it perfect, and you're taking a lot of emotion and energy in the process of trying to get it perfect. So just be at it. Excellence above perfection. Okay. Then we have the next question. I feel guilty when I rest. How can I rest without feeling like I'm wasting time? How? Practically, how can I rest? Start by resting. You can only rest by resting. You can only rest by resting. But you also need to address the mindset of rest is unproductive. Rest is waste of time. Rest is waste of energy. Rest is preparing your body. I am a Christian, and I believe in God Almighty. I believe that He created the heaven and the earth. Then you get to the point where He created the heaven, and for 6 days He was creating. And on the seventh day He rested. Why did He have to put that principle? Because the machine that is doing the work needs to revive, refresh, restore, renew. So start by addressing the mindset. What exactly is the mindset you have about rest? I've done some work as regards rest and recuperation, so you can check that. Excuse me. What's the mindset you have as regards rest? Some people feel that rest is an error, and some of this is because of the environment they grew up in, or the environment they find themselves like. There are some bosses who will not, they can't afford to see you sitting down and probably clicking on the phone. I'm not saying that you should do that. Don't be unproductive at work, but you know there are times when you have worked so hard. Probably you've even achieved a major goal. You've been at the system typing, and for 3 hours you didn't even get up. And then suddenly, when you get up, there are narcissistic bosses and people, human beings. And once they see you lying down, they just feel like you have not done anything. And they remember all the work that there is to do. And they give it to you because they have to drain your last life blood. If you are like that you are doing that to someone else, that's an error. You're actually just a mental health, a mental case, or how do I put it? You're just building up on bad mental energy, mental health, or ill health. Yes, you're just building mental ill health. So that's that. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Just a minute. Yeah, I'm still with you, so please don't feel like I've left you. I'm still here. I need to respond to some of the chats that are coming in. Yeah. Okay, thank you for that comment. Thank you so much. Thank you for that comments. Okay. Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. We're almost there. We're almost there. Yeah, that works. Okay. Okay. Yes, so let's get back to it. Thank you so much for giving me the room to breathe and answer others. Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's so good to see that I'm not alone here. Thank you, everyone, for your comments. Thank you for joining us. Whenever you join, please just tell us where you're joining us from and what please just help us with that. It's so good to have you all here. Okay, I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you. Okay, yes, and that's done. Okay, thank you. Good. Mm-hmm. So you see, just those few minutes, like I've been able to achieve a lot. And for me, what I just did now was part of the rest. So rest is productive, please. Rest is very productive. Don't ever feel that way that you you're feeling guilty. So address the guilt. Where is the source of the guilt? Is it that you've been lazying around? Yeah, so my book will soon be ready. And once it is, I will get back to you. I'll, of course, bring it up. One of the things that I addressed was mental laziness, physical laziness, and emotional laziness. So don't don't address the source of the guilt. Is it from laziness? If it's laziness, we know how to handle procrastination and all the other things that are causing the laziness. And one of the things we always do in sessions is ask you, I call it the 5 levels of why. Why are you feeling guilty? You say why. Why is that happening? Why? So that we can get to the root of it, because what we're seeing is just a tip of the iceberg. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so that's it. And the next question is, I pull away from people because I don't want to be a burden. How do I reconnect? Oh my goodness. We reconnect by our words. There is no, but I don't think anybody wants to, wants to assume. You can't build connections on assumptions or on ideologies or brain waves. Yes, you can connect with people based on brain waves, but the connection is by words. Please use your words, verbal words, or type it or something and say, hey, I'm going through something right now, can I talk with you? Or I just needed someone to talk with. Or can I hang out with you? You seem like a nice person. I want to make your acquaintance or something. Just don't you have to use your words. That's how you can connect with people and understand that it's not everybody that will connect with you right back. Give room for people to decline your offer. Give room for people to say no. And also see yourself as, okay, they said no does not mean that I am not worthy. It's give room for people to say no in connection. And it still boils down to your mindset. It also comes back to your mindset. What's your mindset? I know a lot of people who have been burnt badly by relationships, friends, and all that. I'll do a session on that, on how to reconnect, starting afresh. How to start afresh, especially when it has to do with relationships. But I already have a video on that, on how to move on when you've just left something. How do you move on? But you can also watch that video. Connecting with people, how do you connect even when you feel like you're a burden? Is know your boundaries. It's also something we've addressed in the boundary course, is knowing your boundaries, knowing what when you are oversharing and when you are undersharing. So when it has to do with boundaries, some people's boundaries are very porous, some people's boundaries are very rigid. Your boundaries have to know where your limits are. So feeling like a burden. Some people are not financial burdens, but they're emotional burdens. Some people are not emotional burdens, they are technical burdens. Like every problem that they have, they bring it to you. Every problem that they have, they dump it on you. So don't be don't be a dumb. We're working on ourselves, we're building every day. So if someone, give room for people to say, oh, I feel like I'm overwhelmed right now, I may not be able to attend to you. It doesn't mean that you are the burden, it just means that they at that point are not able to connect with you. So give them room for that. And how do you give them room? It's something I said yesterday on day 13. One of the things I said was, when you love yourself, you're teaching others how to love you. Tell them, oh, if you ever feel like I'm overwhelming you with calls, just let me know. I would appreciate it if you tell me, or I appreciate it if you, please don't blank me, or don't ignore me. I don't like being ignored. I would rather you tell me, please, I'm busy right now, give me. And then as you're growing, because you don't like being ignored, as you're growing, also give people room to be be busy, aside from you. So if you don't like being ignored, also give people room to have time when they are not constantly answering you. It's not that you send chats every 3 minutes and they're supposed to be answering you every 3 minutes because you don't like being ignored. So that's it. So you're also growing, you're building yourself, and you're becoming better at connecting with people. But communication is one of the lifelines of every form of of every form of relationship, connections, and all that. Okay, so let's get to the 10 to 12 questions. I have, what if building a routine feels boring or hard for someone like me who lives moment to moment? Yes, these are my extroverts in the building, where they tip very high on the, for those that follow the, we are with the science of psychology, we don't necessarily acknowledge the four, I think that was based on Sigmund Freud's theory. Right now, it's not really acknowledged. Sanguine, melancholy, the four temperament types, and the connections. We follow more of the MBTI. Okay, sorry, I've entered the technical jargon right now. Okay, let me get back to it. There are a lot of us who live moment to moment, who are like extroverted, more extroverted than introverted. So the energy they get is from the environment. So everything has to be happening. Energy, let's get it done. Some people love last minute things. Oh, we have a project, we need to submit a proposal in the next 1 hour. That's where they get a lot of energy. They get their burst of energy. So routines are boring for them. It's good in a sense, but in the other sense, it drains you of energy, and then you actually drains you of a lot of physical energy, and then you're not now able to give effort or energy and excellence. You're not able to put excellence into the work that you are doing. So it's something that you have to consider. It's something you really have to consider. Okay, so quickly, I'm already rounding up right now. The next question is, I don't even know what I enjoy anymore. Where do I start rediscovering what lights me up? Let's, for that, do a reflection. Get back to what used to light you up. What used to light you up? That's very important. Let's check before, go to the, go do in retrospect. What exactly was it that used to make me smile? You could even ask people that are around you, what what do you like about me, or what did you notice, what did we used to do together, that if you've forgotten some of those things that used to make you that used to help you build energy, or that lights you up. Now, can you grieve things that never happened, like lost opportunities or unmet dreams? Yes, definitely you can. And so please, for whoever asked this question or has this question, stay tuned for our August Wellness Week. We're going to be talking everything grief and grief management. Um, what does being kind to yourself really look like when you've always been hard on yourself? Okay, I shared that in the video. Start by knowing yourself. Get to know who you are. Meet yourself. You can't love someone in absentia. Love yourself by meeting yourself. Stay with yourself. Get to know what you love, what you don't love, what ticks you off, what gets you excited. Get to know yourself, and then begin to appreciate the little things. And there are some other things that I share in the wellness platform and in sessions, one-on-one sessions or group therapy sessions. I want to hope again, but I'm scared of being disappointed. How do I trust the process? You can trust the process by observing how it has helped others in the past, people who have been through it, stories of people, testimonies of people who have been through it. Their exact process may not be your process, but just knowing that they were able to go through it and they've come out on the other side or they are making progress is also a lot. With this, I want to say thank you so much for the time that you have spent with us. Thank you for allowing me in your space. What if you made no progress in the past 14 days? It doesn't mean you have failed. It just gives you, it means that you've recognized something and there is something more you need to do. This may not be enough for you. Make sure you're on our wellness platform and you can book sessions with us and let's walk through with you on what you really need for your progress. What's next after this wellness series is we're available for you at every point. If there's some other video or some other content you want us to share with you, please go ahead to drop that in the comment section and I'm available to get that done for you. But make sure you're on the wellness platform. The link is in the description and it was really nice having this time with you. We're available and I remain Ebere Chukwuona, your mental health bestie. Remain well. Goodbye. Oh.